G'day guys, this is Scotty the Scavenger. Yesterday we picked up a boat for 650 bucks. Let's go and take a look. Here it is. It's a Nova 1977 fiberglass boat. The main reason why I thought it was worth buying is because the trailer is in pretty good condition. It's a 2012. It was submerged. The guy had it moored and it fell from its mooring, so the motor has been submerged. It's a Johnson 50 horsepower 2-stroke. So let's get these batteries out, get a new battery in, and see if we can get it to turn. Alright, quick walk around. The windscreen is cracked and broken. I guess that's from rolling around at the bottom of the ocean. As I said, the trailer is really good. The trailer just needs a little bit of a clean up with a wire brush. Fiberglass boat's in pretty good nick. Doesn't leak or anything. So first I'm going to put the battery in and see if we get the tilt trim to work. And we'll see what's going on under here. I didn't show you guys, but yesterday I actually took it to the car wash and sprayed the motor down with, because it was full of sand. I pulled the spark plugs and they didn't look too bad. So let's see if we can get this to turn. At the moment I think it's all locked up. So yeah, let's get the carbs off, we'll get the spark plugs out, we'll get some oil in there, and we'll see if we can get the starter motor to turn, see if we can get the engine to free up, and we'll see if the tilt trim works. Alright, let's get the new battery or the charged battery in there and see if we got any power. This battery is actually out of a car that I bought, and the battery was dead, but we charged it for 15 hours, so hopefully we get something. You can see the tilt trim motor is pretty rotted out. But I don't know if one night in the ocean would do that, but I dare say that could be the problem. Anyway, let's push on and see if we can get this motor turning. Spark plugs out. We got some lubricant sprayed into the holes. You can't see in there, but I can, and it looks like there's a little bit of rusty sort of surface rust built up in there, but this is stuck solid. So see if we can't pry this loose. Maybe you guys didn't believe me that this was the Australian Alps, but it snowed a bit. No, about 10 centimetres. It's meant to be 70 centimetres, so it's a bit disappointing. So I tried to get the motor sitting a bit more vertical so I could get the penetrating fluid inside, sitting up against the cylinders, but hasn't been that successful. The other thing is, if you can see that nut, it's quite rounded, and I didn't do that, so I think somebody's had a ratchet gun on there, so I'm hoping they haven't damaged the piston rings. But I'm waiting for another product to come, some sea foam, which is meant to be better than WD-40, so I'm gonna spray that in there, leave that to soak for a bit, and try it again. If that doesn't work, we'll get the casing off and we'll hit it with some pieces of wood. So let's see how we go. So just so you can see, I'm not pulling it on it that hard or anything, but it's really welded up tight. It's not going anywhere. Alright, it's been about a week since I had the cylinder soaking with WD-40. The seafoam hasn't arrived. I am getting a bit tired of waiting because of COVID. I think the post is taking a really long time. It's still not budging, not even the tiniest bit. So I'm going to get this casing off, and then I'm going to get the head off, and then we're going to see if we can shock these cylinders back into life or break them, whatever happens first. So let's see how we go. Alright, we got that one out, we got those two out, and I think we're going to get that one out. And we found these two wires, so we're going to have to figure out something here later on if we get this thing to turn, but it doesn't look that corroded, so I'm still hopeful, but let's keep going, we'll see how we go. Alright, we got the casing off, so it was 4 bolts, those 4 bolts that I pointed out, and that's it. We've got to get these wires off. So we'll do that. That's for the tilt trim. And we got to take off, looks like this fuel line. Alright, let's do that, and then we'll see if we can get the head off. Got our 3 different buckets here, so we can keep our bolts separated, so we have an idea of where things go later on. Alright, that should come out, and then this should come off. Alright, insert expletives here. We've got 3 stuck head bolts. 1, 2, 3. They're getting very rounded, and I'm getting a little bit angry, so we'll have a think about this and we'll come back and see how we go. Okay, we finally got the head off. 1 bolt snapped off, 2 bolts snapped off, but should be able to get them out. We'll feel a bit of damage to that thread. And the head doesn't look too bad actually, but also in two pieces, so not ideal. Probably going to say that this motor's cactus, but anyway, let's take the carby off and see if we can get any more water out of it. Alright, let's have a look where we're at. Looks like a lot of sand got into the bottom cylinder. So yeah, I snapped those two. That one stuck in there, damaged that thread, smashed the head into three pieces, and safe to say that I'm not really a great mechanic. Look, I don't have a lot of specialist tools here. This cost me bugger all at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter. But we got the carbs off, and you can see all this solidified salt stuff that came out of it. There's the back of the air box, heaps of sand down the bottom. So if you look inside there, you can see the top one's pretty good, bottom one is not that good. Well, she ain't moving, not even the tiniest bit. So, a little bit disappointing that I cracked the head on this 50 horsepower two-stroke Johnson, but what can you do, you know? The starter motor doesn't work. We tried to jump that. As I said, we cracked the head, damaged the threads, pistons are stuck. So what I'm going to do is strip it all down, get the leg off. The leg is good. Keep all the hardware, harvest all the hardware, harvest all the lines. Get the flywheel off, keep the carbs, clean them out. So if we do come across another Johnson 40, 50 or 60, we got some parts to work with. So yeah, let's get all this off. We'll split the crankcase. We'll see why the pistons don't work. I know I said I was gonna see if I could get it to turn, but the seafoam stuff is still not here, and I honestly think that it's just full of sand. So time to give up on this beast. As I said, there's too many things that don't work. The tilt trim doesn't work. We'll try and get a new motor onto this boat, and yeah. So yeah, let's get all this stripped down and see how we go. All right. So just for our own entertainment, let's take off the worst of these two carbs and have a look inside and see how bad it is. Alright, it was basically welded together, and that's what it looks like. Nice. Well, interesting. Well, now I really want to see what that one looks like, so I might open this one up, see how that looks. And here's the second one. It's not anywhere near as bad. It's just that the salt water mixed in with the ethanol and turned very gluey. So it turns out that the head bolts fit in the puller, which is good because we snapped our puller bolts. snapped our puller bolts in the car. Whoa! Alright, we'll try that again. Alright, we're getting there. We got the stator off, got the flywheel off, got everything, all our hardware sitting here. We've got our carbs over there. So we'll get the leg off, and then we'll take the whole power head off, and then we'll split the crank, and we'll finally see what's wrong with this engine. So we're just continuing our work on the 50 horsepower Johnson. We got the gearbox off, which is, you just got to take that linkage off, and then that comes down. So this is good. So we might try and sell that, I don't know. Still trying to separate the crankcase, but these bolts, I need a 3/8 spanner, which I don't have. So we'll order that in the mail. The last thing we'll try and do is get the power head off. So let's try that, and then we'll have it all stripped down. So what we'll do is we'll just clean up all these parts, we'll chuck them in a bag, we'll write Johnson 55 horsepower on it, and I'm sure one day they'll come in handy. I've actually got another motor, a 25 horsepower. This boat's not that big, so 25 should be enough for it. So we'll get this one off, put the new one on, we'll put the steering in, and that's got a pull start. So we'll get those changed up, and then we'll see if we've got a running boat after that. Well, one came off, snapped. So I'm guessing the same thing's going to happen with this one, but at least it'll be off. So the power head's basically destroyed from me smashing it with a hammer. It's nearly off. It's just one bolt. It's hanging on by one bolt. So soon we'll have that off. When 3/8 comes in the mail, we'll get that off, and we'll see why this motor stopped working in the first place. So we've just got an update on the boat project. So that's the boat we bought for 650 bucks. Good trailer, bad engine. I didn't do a good job of fixing it. Here's the parts. We sold the gearbox for 350 bucks, so that was good. This is sold for 50 plus delivery, so that's alright. We got a bit of money back there. We've still got some parts to sell. Got the carbs in here and the lower cowling, so we could still harvest a few parts. So this boat owes us about 300 bucks or so, maybe a bit more because of all the driving around. So we're going to take that control box off because we've had a change of plans. We've taken this off. We had that on the back. There was a 25 which is running, but doesn't have a tilt trim motor like I thought, and the trim adjustment on it is a bit buggered. The pins here, you can't actually lift it up and down properly, so I couldn't be bothered fixing that. So instead of that, we're going to take this controls off, and we'll sell those hopefully. Hey Tilly. So here comes the exciting news. $1,000 bucks. We got the 40 horsepower 2-stroke Mercury Lightning XR, and it's a runner. We've got all the controls in here, everything's here, so we should be able to just out with the old, in with the new. So just leave it with me for a bit. I'm not going to film the whole thing because it's on my phone, but in future videos I hope to do that. I'll get a better camera if you guys like this sort of stuff. So anyway, let's get the other controls out, let's get this one in, and then let's go for a spin. $1,300 boat, I guess, all up. Maybe 1,400. So let's get it going. Okay, I've backed the car up, so I've got to get as close as I can to this car, and I'm going to lean the motor up here. Then I'm going to bring the boat forward and hopefully just be able to get it on without too much of a struggle. I've got a bit of a bad back, so try and be careful. Alright, let's see how we go. Alright, we've got everything sitting there. I only had to skull drag it about an inch, so hopefully no damage to the back. Alright, we'll get these controls out and the new ones in. Hopefully the new motor in. Alright, I'm going to get this off and get these controls out, and then we should be able to pull it all out. Put the new one in. It's all jacked up at the front to lift the back down far enough to get it over. It's pretty close, a little bit more. Wasn't easy, but with the help of the jack, we finally got it over. I think that's about all the skull dragging I'm going to do for today. But I'll start setting up the steering box and see how we go. And the throttle box. You know, putting all the cables in. Alright, we got the throttle box mounted, got some of the cables run. This one I'm going to have to drill a new hole for, and this one there's not enough room, so we'll drill a new hole. Pew, pew, pew. Get those cables out of the way. Now we just got to hook everything up to the motor. Pretty much got everything hooked up. It's time to test if we've got power. Here we go. Tilt up. Oh, that went down. Tilt down. That went up. But she's working. Can we crank it? Oh yes. Nice. Alright, so I've got the polarities reversed on the tilt trim, so I think I just got to switch these two. So we'll try that. Alright, here we go. Tilt up. Key on. Tilt up. Yeah. Tilt down. Tilt up. Crank. Nice. Now we just got to get a fuel tank because I didn't bring mine with me, and I need to get the right fuel connector. These ones that are in here are not the right ones. And then we'll hit the water, test it out. Alright, it's a bit windy, so you might not be able to hear me. But here we go, we're down at the water. Got everything bolted in, she's not leaking. I'm gonna try the first start. Prime it up. pumping water. That's a good sign. So I took the spark plug off and ran it, and it ran. So that means there's something wrong with the bottom cylinder, and that was the one that was loose as well. And as you can see here, these two look like there's been getting some action, but there's no action down here. So I'll pull this one off while the whole thing, have a look at this one. Alright, one's done. Give that a hit with the compressed air. It was low tide, so we didn't do the water test yet, but we painted her up all black, gloss black. Once we uncover the stickers, and then a couple of days, we'll take her for a spin. Here's the boat after God knows how much lost footage. Clean the carbs again, just filling up the water to test her out. We have had the engine running already before, but now we're trying to tune it. Painted the woods. So this is the $1,300 boat. Let's see if we can get it running finally. So I got these brackets to put on the boat trailer to use for a rooftop tent. So cost $700 for these. So it's now the $2,000 boat, and it's still not running right. You've probably heard it in the last video. I've got to pull the carbs off and the reed valve cover, and I've got to change the reed valve gasket because I was mucking around in there a while back, and when I pulled it off the gasket, part of it broke. So I've got a scraper. I'll pull this off, pull all the stuff off. I'll pull the trailer out, get it out of the water, get the cover off, scrape the gasket off. I might tape video a bit of that, and then put the other bracket on for the rooftop tent, and then I'll try run it again. I'll use some gasket glue, and I'll put the cover back on and see if it runs any better. Alright, got the carbs off, and I'm just going to take these off. These are the reed valves. You can see the gaskets. It's broken. Broken everywhere. So clean that off, put a new gasket. Alright, it's getting there. I'll keep cleaning both these up, and when the gasket glue arrives in the mail, I'll seal it up and put it back on. Alright, so under the reed valves, the gasket actually goes underneath, and then they got these little port things that marry up. So I don't want to take that off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of silicone around the edge of all of these, and then I'm going to screw these on, and then I'm going to put more silicone around and screw it back on and see how we go. Don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to find out. The surface is pretty clean. If I keep going overboard, then just start scratching it, and I could be here all day. I can't be stuffed. That's it. I'm just going to silicone it and put it on and see how we go. All right, woohoo! All right, so that's my first bit of silicone. Screw the reed valves on, and then I'll do another bead around. All right, so we got that. The silicone's sort of all the way around. It's coming out a bit, so that's pretty good. Got all the bolts, not super tight, but pretty, I reckon, good enough. You never want to tighten them too much into these cast iron bits. So we'll come back tomorrow and put the carbs back on and see if it's any better. Alright, we're just putting the carbs back on. We've got hopefully a good seal here on the reed valve, so we should get proper vacuum, and hopefully that'll stop the fuel from getting pushed out of the carbs. Who knows? I don't know. If this doesn't work, then I've only got two more things I can try, which are three things, which is clean the carbs again, investigate why this thing is getting to 100 degrees, or did I put oil mix in here and I've got the oil injection? Is that too much oil? So they're the only things I can try. After this, hopefully this silicone sorts out the problem, but we'll see how we go. Okay, moment of truth. Let's get our key. We've got our key. We've got fuel. We should be able to tell. It won't be tuned, but we should be able to tell just by listening if it sounds a lot better or not. Okay. Don't think we've got a good enough connection. Try again. would say that sounds a lot better. It's got more of that bop, 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 bop sort of sound going on. I think it's, I'm not going to say it's fixed, but play around with the carbs a bit. We'll see if we can get it to idle better. It started way better. It idled, had sounded better. Before I could hear this, I forget what you call the bloody thing, spins around. It's making a, I could hear that more than I could hear the bop, 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 bop of the two strokes. So sounds better. All right, I'm going to play with the carbs a bit, then we'll do another start. I'll just show you what I'm adjusting. This adjustment here pushes this ever so slightly, which controls the air fuel going in. So tweak that a little bit and get my key. Got my key. Try with the choke. Right. A little bit more. I did back this off a lot, so I'll give it a few turns. Almost. Alright, so that's all the way out. I would say, just going to check if this runs without the battery. Yes, it does. I would say that sounds pretty awesome, pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. We got no fuel pissing out of the carbs. I could feel the good suck definitely running on all three cylinders. It's got that lovely wop, 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 wop sound. I think it's fixed. I'm going to say it, boys and girls. I think it's fixed. I'm going to tweak it a little bit more when I go out on the water or whatever, but I'm just going to put everything back together now, and I'm calling that fixed. It's never run like that before, and that's definitely how it's meant to sound. So Woohoo! Woohoo! Alright, hopefully, I've said this maybe 4, 5, 6 times now. The next time you see this, we'll be out on the water going for a burl. Fingers crossed. My mistake, no. One more thing to do, it's not pumping water. So I've got an impeller on the way. I'll pull the leg off, change the impeller, make sure that it's pumping water, and then we'll do the water test. But I'm pretty excited, I have to say. It's taken a long time to fix this. No, it hasn't taken a long time to fix it, but I haven't been working on it all the time. It was at a block. I wasn't at the block. I had to get parts. I was coming and going. So it's been probably like a year. No, I don't know. It's been nearly a year that these videos have stretched across. But we're very, very close, and just in time, because we are going to take this boat on a trip, and with this van towing this boat. So I'm pretty psyched, pretty happy. And this is where we've been staying. This guy's come back home now, so we're staying somewhere else, but the boat's still here. And alright, I'm going to end this video here. We'll start off fixing the impeller.